Alright, so, who's doing the recap for the last session?
Well,
Oh, he's after.
we we started at the we went to the Tower of Ferocity, and we found that his tower was a total wreck, and the statue was nowhere to be found. But then we found some drag marks, and we followed those marks, and then we were attacked by these baboon-like creatures that I forget what they were called, but we managed to take them out. We continued on, following the drag marks, and we went to this sort of temple type place in the king's mind, and we went inside, and it was based on the statues inside. It was a temple to Wastri, and we went inside. There was a fun maze which we got lost in, and at the end there was this really big guy who was the master of the place, I guess. So we fought him. He was pretty big, but we beat him. And then the place started crumbling, and then we found the rest of the statues of Ferocity and all the other ones. So we lifted them up and carried them out, and then they turned to humans, and the land started crumbling, and I think that's about where we left off. Unless I missed something.
Well, that's far more than I remember.
You missed out the best part. The maze.
I mentioned the maze.
But not how much the maze mentioned us. You gotta say we took a right turn, and then we took a left turn, and then we took a right turn, and then we turned around because we got down the wrong, and then we took a right turn.
And then there was a room with a collapsing ceiling and a fake chest.
There was. But are you okay with that, Marxo, or do we need to? Is there any other details that we need to?
I am fine with that backdrop if you all replay, if y'all call it that. If y'all are fine with it. If y'all didn't feel like y'all left any important details out. Are y'all happy with it?
I think so.
I'm never happy.
Neither am I, but
They got drugs for that. Supposedly. Alcohol works well too.
copious amounts of weed.
Alcohol works better. Usually.
Yeah, sometimes.
Reason I need to clean my keyboard.
Chasing mine butterflies.
You were chasing an imp. You know, like the little things that we attacked the first time. One of them came and they like, I don't know if you ever seen them Japanese animes do it. Like they pulled down like one of their eyelids and stuck their tongue out, and you're like, "What the fuck?" and went after it.
For me.
Oh yeah, and I skinned one of those baboon things and am now wearing its pelt as a cape.
That did
Andrew?
happen.
What was that?
Are they called mandrills? I kind of sort of remember being a devil monster like that.
I don't think there were mandrills. I think there was something else.
They were something entirely different. These were giant ape monkey.
I'm going to call them Korakabu. I don't remember their actual name.
I don't recall y'all actually knowing their names.
But the player saw it.
Not in character, but
The player can see all they want.
And the big guy we fought had 4 arms.
yeah. 2 of them were like pincer arms.
Alrighty. So as you all are standing out, you all have run out. The statues have turned back into beings, and the landscape is crumbling down. You can see the mountains falling in, and the ground begins to shake and crack. And beneath you, the ground just splits open, and you begin to fall.
Are the king's personas falling also, or just us?
You can't tell. You're falling into darkness. It is pure black. You come falling down. Everybody make a dexterity saving throw for me, please. Starting out well.
Well, my very first roll was a 20, so it just mathematically had to happen.
Oh dear.
We didn't need them.
Chungus rolled. Oh, that's right. Chung, do you have advantage on dexterity saving
I
throws?
have the yeah.
Second barbarian.
It's this thing.
Oh. I'll give it to you in this one. You realize
Its
you're
spider
okay.
sense was tingling.
Yeah. The cape waved at him. So you see Galactor and so you all are falling, and then all of a sudden, Chungus, you and Ellie land on your feet inside a room. Galactor and Salem go splat on the ground beside you and kind of crumple. Not hard, but they're kind of just like they're laid prone down the ground. And it's kind of noise.
I'm gonna walk over and check if they're alive.
They are alive. They seem to be unharmed.
Is it lit here, or is we using dark vision?
It is lit. It's somewhat.
Which I
It's
suppose
lit
is a thing to mention about falling into pitch blackness, as most of us can still see.
Yeah, I know. You all in your damn dark vision.
We could see gray blobs beside us falling, but I guess it would still technically be pitch black if there's no rooms or nothing around it.
You
80%
all
of the race
recognize
is
this room.
Oh?
Yes.
Is it the room that we were shunted into the king's mind from?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
You all have returned.
Does the king still seem to be in a dilapidated or sickly state? I gotta keep saying dilapidated.
He is
He
like an
has to
old
be-
house.
He has to be dilapidated.
Need more than a coat of paint and some new shutters to fix this one up, boys. As you look at him, you do see that he is in a much better state. His hair is still matted, and frankly, he still looks rough in the sense that he's been captive for weeks on end, at least. But he is significantly better shape than he was when you all got whooshed into his mind.
Glockter will hand over some rations and his water canteen.
The king will quietly take them and kind of eat gently on them and drink.
Sam's gonna put his robe back on if it was off in the real world, because he took it off in the mind world.
What?
Salem took his robe off in the mind world, so if if it's still off in the real world, he's gonna put his robe back on.
To get it out of the brain.
Oh, okay.
It's covered in kingly goo.
Well, I mean, I guess it's I guess we need to let the king know that he's back in the real world.
So as the king is quietly sitting there eating, and taking on the water. He has not looked up. His head is still. He's just kind of hunched down the floor, still chained to the wall. Still got kind of. He's got like some chains on him, but it's just kind of like they're loose chains, so he just can't like run. But like he could freely move around the room. But he is kind of sitting there quietly.
All right. I make a motion towards Chungus to see if we can try and break the chains.
All right. So I'll grab one end and start pulling.
I see these are probably in the wall pretty good, so I'll grab the same chain as him to pull.
Okay. Both of you give me a strength check then. Alright. Yeah, okay. You're able to pull the chain, like, you hear crack, and the entire chain, and, like, a piece of the wall comes out. And it's still attached to this big block of wall. So you now effectively have made a giant ball and chain.
Right. So is he double chained, or do we need to do it to another one, or is it just the one single chain?
He's still chained. It's just he now has his foot being attached to the wall.
But yeah.
I assume there's locks on the chains, right?
Yes.
Sam's gonna try to unlock them then.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Go ahead. You know the drill. All right. You're able to pick the lock on his neck and on him and release the chain.
That's simpler.
Well, we got a perfectly good flail now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a 12-foot flail. I'm curious as to. I'm curious real quick. What was your plan now that you have him on this giant long ball and chain?
What can't we not do with a long ball and chain?
I don't know.
You do like pull-ups with it.
But Galactor will definitely like pull this up and like kind of wrap it around and like kind of have it around his shoulders and stuff. So
The king will look up and go, I suppose now is the time.
The time for what?
I assume you are here to grant my execution.
I do believe we've gone through far too much trouble to do that now.
Then what is the point of keeping me here?
We are not the ones keeping you here. We are your rescuers.
Well then, I suppose I owe you my gratitude if you are to be rescuing me.
Oh, there's a lot more you could do to repay us than that. There's a bit of trouble at the capital.
Well, I suspect so. A capital without a king is...
Oh, it has a king. Just not the right one.
No one has the legitimate heir to replace me.
But, Your Highness, you're still the one running the capital.
I have been in this dungeon for far too long. You are making no sense.
You've been replaced by some kind of copy. one who is more than happy to promote the wrong ideology.
Kind of wrong ideology. Is he giving land to the poor?
There was talk of money being distributed.
He will bankrupt the country. He will bankrupt the world.
But more specifically, your enemies have stolen your kingdom and they now use it to promote the false god that they held you here in the name of.
So I see. And how did you find me?
We followed a trail that nobody else was looking for. We knew you were missing.
Well, surely somebody would have known I'm missing. I've been gone for weeks. Months even. Maybe even years. I don't know how long I've been here.
But there's been somebody in your stead, in your likeness. They have no reason to believe you're missing as we do. Or did.
Then how did you know I was missing?
A
out of
chance
character.
encounter at a windmill. You overheard some talking and just knew something was up because your name was dropped.
I see. Well,
Several
nevertheless.
things that were innocuous on their own didn't make any sense when put together.
Well, then I guess I still owe you my gratitude. But, what happened to all... What happened to the men... There
You
was a
broke
man
up
in a
there.
robe I saw once or twice. What happened to him? Who was he?
Describe the robe.
He was an older man in a dark robe. I don't remember the color. Talked with kind of a gravelly voice. I heard him speaking not that long ago. A couple minutes ago.
Galactor leans over to Elliot, the one that left the champion behind for us.
She nods in agreement to that. Do we know where he got off to, or did he just disappear?
He just whooshed out. You have no
Okay.
idea. Remember, he stepped through a portal and left. And
He stepped upon the winds of magic and left while one of his lackeys attempted to cease our pursuit.
so I see.
Is the door shut to this room at the moment, or is it still open?
It is open. It's the only light in the room.
Okay. While we're talking, Galactor will peer out the door to see if there's the champion may be standing out there.
No, he is not.
From my understanding, I believe this lackey is the one that has been tormenting and breaking you down.
Many have come and tried to destroy my soul. They've asked me for so many secrets. I have refused to give them. I figured they had grown tired and choose to execute me instead.
Not sure how much longer your resolve would have held, but you did quite well.
I was presumed to die eventually. Starvation, thirst, beheadment, whichever one came first. BRB, 2 seconds.
Oh, I was going to say something very meta, man.
I mean, I'm pretty sure magic can prevent 2 of those 3 things from killing you.
Kenneth, though?
I'm trying to remember whether there are spells that sustain you, such as like the Ring of Sustenance used to do.
You have like Good Berry, which creates a berry that you can have, and it's say it's all your needs for a day and stuff.
Yeah, like if somebody's unable to take items off, if there are any that don't require attunement that could do the trick, you could like force the ring onto them or whatever to, so they don't have to eat or drink or sleep or breathe even sometimes.
I don't remember if that's in here or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's in 5th either. I just know they supposedly exist out there in the Feywilds.
And Dan,
whatever,
what were you gonna say? You said you were gonna say something very meta.
Oh, I was going to be like, so it seems your last bastion of resolve held, and now you've gained back your curiosity and your will to live.
He doesn't seem that fierce right now.
Yeah, but he's living.
He doesn't seem that like he still seems rather. You get the impression that he is rather weakened at the moment.
But he didn't ask us to kill him, so he still has the will to live.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he did just like assume you were gonna kill him. You told him that you weren't.
Missed opportunity.
You could have killed the king and became the king yourselves.
He's got to be pretty high level. That's probably worth a lot of experience.
Could have some access to some good magic items too.
Pull out the magic table. He has to be at least a Z.
We are young and strong. He is old and weak. We can still do this.
Actually, he's not that old.
Okay, he's young and weak then.
He's late 30s, probably mid 30s, probably 30,
Damn it.
34.
We just gave him a meal. That counts as a long rest.
Right. So, how weak in state is he? Like, can he walk? Can he hold himself up?
You could ask him.
All right. So, Galactor will look at the king and be like, "Are you able to walk and stand?"
The king will go. Possibly. It has been a while since I walked about. You see him get up, but very slowly and very shakily.
I guess Galactor will. Hey, he got his sword back. Will pull his sword out and kind of point it down and hand it to him as like, use this as a stick, because I don't have my quarterstaff anymore. So I got a stick.
What happened to your quarterstaff?
Last time I had it was we barricaded some doors.
Oh, that is right.
But I
left it
never
behind.
did. Yeah, I got my daggers. But he can use the sword. He's familiar with swords. I know he is.
And he will say thank you, and he takes it, and you see him like gingerly kind of walk about with the sword point down. He goes, I believe I can make it. So what is our plan for getting out of here? You do have a plan, correct?
We cleared it quite well on our way in. It's just a matter of going back out. And keeping an eye out for the one lackey who's gotten away.
Well, I suppose it's as good a plan as any. Once outside, where do we go?
Well, once we leave here, if we run into some hobgoblins, we have made a truce with them, so that should be no worry there.
Are you suggesting that so close to your kingdom you would have no allies that would be able to aid you? If we're able to get you there so that we may more properly determine the right course to retake the throne?
If what you say is true, then how does a king walk? How does somebody in my shape walking into a room and claiming I am the king when there's clearly a king? How does that look?
You
Did the
have
king have
no-
no birthmarks or anything? You know, I know you would not have your original sword or your signet, but is there any distinguishing markings that you were ever born with?
Hello?
Marxo.
Hmm.
Can you hear us now, Marxo?
Hello?
Does not seem so.
I think I may hit the mute button on accident, actually, instead. I'm sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yes. The last thing I said was, how does somebody walking in my shape, declaring myself king, look to you all when there's already a king?
Gotcha. So Galactor said, since he does not have his ring or his sword, is there any birthmarks or signs, you know, on his markings that would actually people may know?
He will. None that anybody would know that would matter. Basic things.
You have no cipher codes or anything with the other local militaries. No way to authenticate who somebody is.
I had a ring and a sword. And my looks. I have.
Well, 1 out of 3 ain't bad.
True, but let's also think that Wall Street could have agents elsewhere, so we may even want to try to keep his identity safe until we get back to the capital. We can at least talk to, what were their names? Greystones, right?
I'm not sure how they might be helpful. They didn't seem to care about who was in charge as long as they were kept in power.
What
No.
are papers in that clay mold that we have implying that he may have been replaced?
Well, I'm forgetting their names now also. The ones that we met with seemed to believe quite clearly that it wasn't enough to prove anything.
Correct. We didn't have to prove it, but they still listened and didn't.
Mavis?
The Mavises, yes.
So that's who it was, the Mavises.
The incredibly rich people that you went to their party and all that and so on and so forth. And,
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
those people. That's the Mavises. I was going back to my notes going, Greystones. Like, who the hell are the Greystones? Like, did
well,
I create an
what was the
NPC
bo-
faction
what-
I didn't know about?
No, what was the name of the boy that died during it?
Rock pelt.
Rock Pelts.
The Rock Pouch,
So
yes.
that's where I got the stone.
You
from,
you
so.
remember, though, that you've never met his family.
Right, but
Or anybody that knew him.
it blurred on me, so
That's fine. It was like, it made me question my notes.
Mhm.
if we can make it back to the Mavis's manors, we do have horses.
Out of context, that sounds really funny. How do we prove he's the king? We have horses.
Well, you know him much better than I do. Do you think there's anything to the crazy one back in town that he might be able to help? He seemed to imply he has contacts.
Not anymore, he got LASIX.
He has stories and loose ends. But as far as contacts, they'd be just held on by a thread.
You'll also remember that everybody in town thinks he's insane.
Right.
Doesn't matter what they think of him if he can get us to agents who would be able to assist.
Does any of us have an extra set of, like, I don't know, another set of robes or anything we can put on the king so he's not just? I'm figuring he's probably just in breeches or something being chained
He
up.
is. He is stripped into his waist and
Well,
a pair of like linen breeches, and that's it. And they're fairly
if
disgusting.
if we have uh, no other options before us, my church will assuredly help in every way they can. Wastry cannot be let to gain any power.
Where would some churches around this area be of your?
There's a cathedral in the capital.
Gotcha. How close to one of the entrances? Because that's what it really boils down to: is how can we sneak them in without, everyone noticing?
Well, he already looks like a homeless beggar. We just throw a beggar's robe on
I can give him my pelt.
him. As for the location, you'd have to ask the storyteller.
Let me acquire the map.
The pelt is a very good idea, but we may want to let it dry out a little bit before we put it on to him, soaking in blood.
Right.
You just want to take the fun out of everything, don't you?
I'd perfectly be okay watching the king prance around looking like a giant red gorilla.
But there's definitely a but there.
Definitely a butt.
Most baboons do have one.
Damn it.
Nice.
It's about I didn't get the mute quick enough. Now there's a big sneeze on the recording.
Ellie, I also might bring this up. If your church openly defies Wall Street and the fake king has praised Wall Street, would that not put your church under scrutiny and stuff?
It's possible. We're not defying Wastry, we are open enemies of him.
Your cathedral is there.
Rather central.
Yes. In the
Very
cathedral
close to
district.
whatever C is.
The cathedral district.
Why couldn't you be the pyramid?
Because I'm not part of Az technology.
All right, so from there, let's see what gate would be the closest to get into.
Closest, you say?
You also know that the pyramid is the god Pelor. That is his cathedral.
That's the sun god dude?
Yep. You would know that he was kind of the big guy that everybody wore. He is the main worshipped god in Greyhawk.
We could probably come in down at lower A, down to the bottom right of A, and make our way through there. I definitely don't want to go through H or Hightown, because, the more uppity people would possibly at least, see some resemblance.
Even if they didn't see the resemblance, they would be drawn to the fact that there's a beggar walking through their quarter.
Correct.
Seems like a possibility, though I don't know what their current status is in terms of preparedness to fight.
Or even if we could just get into town and then again get with the Mavises, is see if they are still able to help, if willing to help.
And if nothing else, they may at least be able to help us conceal his presence.
Yes, I'm playing my keyboard while I'm listening to that. Because
But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we do need to at least make it out of this prison.
Any other inputs from anybody? Things, thoughts?
Noni, Sock?
Sounds pretty good to me. And while we're in town, well, maybe have someone go into town to get something to disguise him as well. Like someone go ahead one way or the other.
I mean, I have a disguise kit, so I am proficient enough in that. It's just making sure we have the right robes and whatnot.
Yeah, that'd do.
Okay.
sounds like you have finally formulated a plan.
Yeah. So, who would
It's
like
about-
to?
It's about 12% of a plan.
I give it at least 16%.
We've at least got some bullet points.
Yeah, you had a brainstorming session anyway.
We could make a small PowerPoint out of it.
If it's like works PowerPoints, it best have about 19 slides too many. That cover things that were discussed in previous slides.
I think we can manage that.
And to make people really get into it, we're gonna have 80s hairband music going on.
And different wipes between every page.
Right.
And different animations for each bullet point entry.
All the text is flashing.
And different colored.
And links straight back to GeoCities.
The opening slide automatically starts with Stone Cold Steve Austin's intro music.
Oh, this is descending into hell. Alright, back on track.
We came from there.
So would we like
Technically, I just
the
left there, actually.
sneaky cat or the big old chungus to lead us out?
Salem take point.
He's got a point.
Sounds like
Yes,
he's on
he has
point.
taken it.
I would like to you all to know that I have successfully cleaned my keyboard, my joystick, my monitors, my television, and all that while y'all were making y'all's plan.
Nice. All right. So
I was listening,
I
don't worry.
I guess we'll let Salem have a good 15 and 20 foot buffer room, so we're not impeding on his
Damn it,
sneakiness.
Look at if it was emptied. However you want to do it.
Whatever he feels is appropriate, I guess.
Yeah, works for me.
I'll be second in line. So if he gets in trouble somehow, I can rush in and tank for him.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
Okay then. So you all start making your way back out of the dungeon. You
On the
all
road again.
work back out. Wiggling your way. You all don't run into anything. As you get to the door, though, you can hear the sounds of weapons smashing against armor. and screaming and things like that.
Screaming as men screaming, or like if there was a village getting ransacked?
That would still be men screaming.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in the village getting ransacked, you still have women and children screaming too.
As in the stories, please God, no, let me go.
What was the first word?
Please God, no, let me go.
Oh, I thought there was something before that. Okay.
I think I said as is.
I got you. I'm inclined to open the door if nobody stops me. I'm gonna say I open the door then.
You open the door. As you look out, you see a group of soldiers, much like the ones you saw and you fought in here. And you see a pack of hobgoblins beating them to death. Many of their bodies have been dismembered at this point, and they continue to still beat them to death. They are hacking
Out
at
of
them.
all, I was gonna say, when we look upon the hobgoblins, do we see any of them that I would recognize?
They look familiar to the ones that you saw earlier. Yes.
They're doing the Lord's work.
They're here to
Right.
spread the gospel.
Is there any soldiers who are not currently getting beat to death?
No. They have been overran by dozens of hobgoblins.
Nice. Galactor lets out a very large cheer.
They all stop, raise their weapons, cheer, and then proceed to hit the combatant. Their we'll call them targets at this point in unison.
Rip their brains out.
You see one of them reach down, grab a head, and throw it at Chungus.
Wait, they can speak common now? Damn it! They've played me for a fool.
It says more of an acknowledgement of his grunting at them. What do
I
you
guess
do?
I'll speak in Goblin to see if I can find the leader. I don't. You never did give me a name. The Hobgoblin leader.
You never asked.
Yeah, we're gonna call him Chad now.
Okay, you're gonna look for Chad.
Yes.
So you holler out for Chad in Goblin, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see Chad come walking up, violently covered from head to toe in blood. His weapon is almost like he's got an axe, like a jagged axe, and it's almost blunted from the damage he's been inflicting. He's got this giant smile on his face. He goes, and in Goblin he responds,
I take it you're typing something out.
I am.
Nice.
And that last word is exactly how it's spelled.
I say this, and as I'm saying, I kind of hit my chest and put my hand out as for like a handshake.
He will. You see him kind of take, and he kind of like gently punch you in the chest. In response.
Galactor will laugh and also give him punch back.
He will. You see him turn around and kind of jump back over and start wailing on another like body. Basically, at this point, the screaming is slowly dying down as more and more of them like stop screaming.
Dying down.
How is the king taking all this?
He is he's kind of like going with it, I guess. He doesn't really have an emotion to this one way or the other. It's kind of like whatever.
I just I lean over and say, one man's enemy. But I will make some more small talk to the captain there as he's pummeling the bad guy.
I think Chungus is going to assist with the pummeling.
Okay, so Chungus walks over and starts like beating one of these bodies. One of the ones that are still kind of wiggling, basically, I suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you start going to help pummel over one of the bodies that are still moving.
Is something happening?
Yeah, sorry, I was typing.
Ah.
Supposed to be we need, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, win.
What? I'm sure that's a quote from somewhere. I don't recognize that quote.
Big Lebowski.
Oh. Oh. Okay, I get it now.
There's also the censored version. Do you see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps?
The goblin will just respond, "Very good. We look forward to reward." And we'll, continue on. He seems merry in his murdering of these people.
All right, so I will let everyone know that the hobgoblins will help us at least out of the woods back towards Greyhawk. And I'll let the king know that he may have himself some allies here in the woods if he's willing to work with them and treat them right.
Do I happen to remember anything in history about these woods being cleared out of the hobgoblins at some point? And who may have performed that?
You might remember some history of this woods being pacified and then turned into a giant logging wood to fuel the fires and stuff like that for the large city nearby.
Oh god, I'm changing.
She smiles knowingly.
The king will kind of look at you and go, "Allies are always useful. These woods are a dangerous place." And he will kind of look around at the woods. And then kind of go, "Well, we should move on."
Hopefully our horses haven't been taken or slaughtered.
They have not. The hobgoblin captain will lead you back to where your horses are at, and then is able to show you kind of out through the woods. You slowly make your way through the woods. It's rather thick still, and he takes you a pathway that you all did not come. And he points and goes, big people there. He kind of points off.
Big people there. Nice. I will take one of my daggers, whichever one looks somewhat nicer, and hand it to him.
He will take it and push it against his chest and bow.
Live long and prosper. But I guess we need to big people this way. Okay.
Let's see, they are venerable, around 50 years old, so probably won't live that long.
Well, hopefully, he doesn't die at a young age of 23.
Wait, what?
Hobgoblins, how long they live? He said they usually live about 50, and I was like, well, maybe he just won't die at 23.
He who lives by the sword dies in the fires that come pursuing logging endeavors.
If only they had somebody to walk around in a giant goblin outfit to help persuade the military not to overthrow them for the resources that might be in this forest.
Nope.
Who knows? Maybe this is how history was supposed to play out. They did become allies, but then someone broke their ally truce and then just slaughtered them all.
Yes, you all are writing history right now.
They're hobgoblins. Somebody's gonna come to kill them. It's how low-level adventurers get their start.
Y'all didn't kill
Maybe.
hobgoblins. Y'all could kobolds. Alright. So
Go
you all
ahead.
wander out of the woods on your horsebacks. And we're walking towards Greyhawk. Like you realize that is basically the direction of Greyhawk. Is basically what he meant. So what is your plan now? You're out of the forest. The king is kind of robed. I think y'all had some spare. Did y'all have spare clothes?
I don't think mine would fit him. Or that they would look very flattering.
Just Jalux will have his, I know he's not here, his fine garments that were from the party.
I probably does.
I've still got my sash.
I mean, Galactor can give him his white gloves, but he didn't even have a shirt for the party.
To answer your question, no, he does not have his. Oh, he does have his fancy clothes with his mask. The king will point out the fact goes, fancy clothes would make me stand out even more. A homeless man with fancy clothes. Who did I murder to get these? Are you trying to have me thrown back in jail? You just rescued me from it.
You want this pelt then?
You see the king kind of visibly turn green, and then you see a little bit of like vomit come up as he kind of like tries to throw up from the horrendous smell of the improperly
It was never cured or tanned.
yeah, exactly.
It's just rotting.
Yeah, it's just a raw like demonic
No,
monkey skin.
On our way back to town, we'll go by some kind of farmstead, and I'll give them some money for a blanket or something to throw over them.
Which I would like to point out. That pelt is from inside his mind.
Yes, and
Oh yeah.
Just saying.
Poke it and see if it hurts him. He starts having a seizure.
suddenly he can't taste the color blue anymore.
Or count to the number chair. Alright, so you all wander along. You're able to see a homestead if you'd like to try and stop and persuade the people to give you something.
Sure. I would like to see if there is a man of the house, because he could be dead. If he's about the same build as the king, if possible, if he is, to buy a set of clothes from him.
The man you welcome to is fairly. He is fairly. They're peasants, so they're not real big people. Contrast, actually, probably peasants inside the Middle Ages were actually rather lean, and because they worked real physical lives. But I digress. He's kind of small. He says, I do. We don't have many clothes. I have a set.
I throw him one gold piece.
He goes, you have a set of clothes. Thank you. And takes a go. He kind of almost throws the clothes at you and kind of takes the gold piece and walks back inside. And closes the door, quickly. The king kind of looks at you, kind of puzzled.
We need no questions asked.
And you gave the man a gold piece?
Got rid of him with no questions, didn't it?
Did somebody ask how he got a gold piece?
Oh, he'll cherish that for the rest of his life.
If you say so. So the king will take the clothes and walk off and proceed to go get changed. He goes into the river and kind of cleans himself up a little bit and then puts on his clothes. He still looks like a disheveled, homeless, kind of dirt farmer at this point, with long, matty hair still.
Perfect.
But he still looks like the king from in the face.
Breaking up fairly badly for me.
I said he still looks like the king in the face.
When we get closer to town, we'll rub some dirt.
Or we could just use sticks and puff his face up a little bit.
Oh wait, I just remembered something. We still have Godfrey's helmet. Can I put Godfrey's helmet on him?
That will make him stand out.
Nope.
Sure. You
Well,
just
I
gotta take
don't
the
know
helmet,
how
plop.
ornate Godfrey's helmet is. I could've
You have
sworn
a
it
guy
was
who
somewhat-
looks like a dirt poor farmer, and you're putting a plate mail helmet on him. That helmet cost more than that man will make in an entire year.
Oh,
I mean-
okay. So it's not a tattered helmet. Okay.
Even if it was, it would still be more than that man would make in a year. By orders of magnitude more. It's plate. It ain't cheap. You get the information very quickly that if you're trying to make him look like a dirt poor farmer, you need to make him look like a dirt poor farmer, not rich.
It's
in
a
any way.
milking helmet.
If you turn upside down, it will have you a milking bucket.
Dual purpose. Alright. So we have clothes. He still looks like the king.
Yes. He looks dirty. He's got long, straggly hair, but he looks like the king in the like his facial features say king. Like this is the king.
He's got the word king tattooed across his forehead.
No, he's got he does the Post Malone thing right below his eyes where it says "Your Lord."
Can Galactor look in his disguise kit and find like some kind of cloth and kind of wrap it around his head, kind of like pseudo bandages?
Sure, you can do that. So you get some cloth and kind of tie like how are you doing that? Like where are you putting the bandages?
So I'm gonna make it kind of go around his head. I'm gonna have it cover one of his eyes, kind of like he had a eye injury, and I'm gonna have it wrapped also down below his chin.
Okay. Yeah, sure, that works. So you're able to do that.
And then we throw some dirt on it. Because we don't need it be looking clean and pristine. We need it to look like it's been a little tattered.
Okay, so you take it over to the river and like just run around in a bunch of mud, and it's all brown and muddy now.
So does that seem to look a little bit more homely?
I mean, it helps. You get the impression under not overly scrupulous.
Hey, I know he found it.
Found what?
A picture, kind of like what I was describing.
Okay. Under like limited scrutiny, yeah, you think it would be okay. Okay, somebody got up in his face and went, "Who are you?" and started looking. You think it might fail, but like, at long range, you think it'd be okay.
Right, he keeps his head down and kind of follows it with us, kind of thing.
Okay, so you all have got the king all gussied up and make your way towards town. Your entrance points are the one by A1. From this side are either by A1 or G1. Unless you want to walk all around the outside of the city.
I think we decided around A, right? Is that how we're
Yeah. I mean, the distance from A2 wouldn't be much different from A1, so I think we're still fine coming in there. A1, that is, since we're on the west side of the city.
Okay.
And since we're coming in A1, as soon as we can get off the main path, so we don't go right there in the center, Galactor would like to definitely cut down one of the alleys.
Well, you haven't even got to the city yet?
I know, but I didn't know how quick we were gonna get there, so.
Okay. Well, you all continue making your way towards the city. And you begin to approach the gates. You see guards standing outside. They're expecting people as they walk in. They see you all coming and they kind of glance over at you all. They take notice. You all stand out. One of them will raise their hand as you all approach the gate. What do you all do now?
Galactor will raise his hand and acknowledge the guard, but he will also, still keep at a slow trot.
Are you gonna? Well, the guards seem to kind of like indicate that you need to stop.
Okay, so I guess if he's indicating us to stop, I guess I will stop a good 5, 10 feet, a little bit, a little bit farther back from him.
All right. Well, he comes walking towards you.
Okay. Where is the king currently located in our little procession?
Where is he located in this little procession?
Let's say 3 horses back.
There is no floating. There's no caulking here. You gotta ford this river, buddy.
Mm.
Have you checked its depth yet?
So about 3 back, you say?
Yeah, about 3 horses back.
Okay. And the guy will walk up to you. He'll put his hand on the kind of the side of the horse and goes, "And what are you lot doing?"
Glockdoors would say, we are here to see the Mavises. If you may remember, we're the ones that saved their daughter.
The guy will look at you. I have no recollection of that. I was not here. I don't know who that was. What do you need to see the Mavises about?
As part of our reward, they said if we had a small favor to ask, we could come and see them. And on our next expedition, we are in need of a little bit of financing.
He would kind of look down at the kind of the rest of the group and goes, "You're a sorry looking lot, aren't you? Especially that
Well,
one back there. Didn't realize the Mavises treated homeless people."
He's a bard.
Oh, he's a bard. He'll look at the other one and goes, "Oh, he's a bard, apparently. What
Starving
instrument does he
artist,
play?"
as it were. Written word. He plays it quite well.
Is that so?
No, it's not. Look at him. He's destitute.
Then why is he traveling with you lot then?
He's inspiring. We look at him and we're inspired not to fall so low.
Make a perception
Everyone-
check. You notice the king almost getting red with anger at those words. like you
Galactor-
get the impression like if he could turn around and stab you in the throat right now, he would.
Galactor pipes up. We all must start out somewhere. He must make some coin, so we have brought him along.
What skills besides his appearance does he provide to you lot?
Any man who can hold a sword and not flee is worth bringing along.
There he goes. And what's with the muddy bandages?
Goblins, you pesky creatures. Friend took a rock to the side of the head. He now knows how to dodge.
He'll turn back to his party and goes, "They're claiming goblins now. Ain't been a goblin within 100 yards here, 100 miles of here." The other guy goes, "I ain't seen a goblin in my entire life." He'll get you goes, "And where did you see these goblins exactly?" He kind of looks back at the king and goes, You know, you're letting other people talk for you a lot. Can you not speak either?" And you hear the king kind of start to pipe up, and he goes, "Well," and you hear him goes, "Yes, I can speak perfectly. You should know I have been trained by the greatest minds in the entire kingdom."
But you've not been trained how to shut your mouth yet, have you?
And you see the king will look and goes, "How dare you speak to me like that?"
Can Galactor give a quick, sharp look over his eye, over his shoulder, and try to do some intimidation?
Sure.
Oh, that's a 7.
Yeah, it's better than a 1 that I thought it was.
Yeah, so did I.
You see the king, like, he starts to say something, and then he kind of stops.
And Galactor will also turn around. Not seen goblins before. Then was the last time you've seen a half-orc.
He looks over his partner and goes, "I got nothing."
His partner is a half-orc.
That would be hilarious, please.
His partner goes, his partner is not a half-orc. He goes, "My brother's a half-orc, you asshole." Don't ask. My mom was interesting in college.
It was a phase.
You'll see him, he goes, he kind of looks up and down the line again. Looks back. You best not be causing any trouble in this town. Look like a bunch of reckless, abandoned adventurers, for God's sakes. There are laws here, you know.
Well, we wouldn't want to be thrown out. The beds in here are a lot more comfortable than they are out.
You won't be thrown out. You'll be thrown in jail. You hear the king going, "I have spent time in jails. I know the jails in here. They're far better than the ones I was in yesterday." You see the guard kind of raise his eyebrow and kind of look back at the king, and then kind of look at the rest of you all.
Fucking goblins, man.
Didn't think the goblins took prisoners.
Very progressive.
They've had prison reform. Yes. I was captured, alright? They were gonna sacrifice me. They rescued me. Hence the bandage. And you see the king kind of put his head down. The guard will look at you all. And he'll look over his party and goes, "All right, Steve, what do you think?" And you see the other captain look and goes, "Something seems off. The one there in the back, he ain't said anything." He looks back at Salem.
Just waiting to pass here. Don't usually speak much myself.
What's your story with this lot? You seem like a motley crew if I've ever seen one.
We just been moving around, passing through generally.
Guys, I think you let them go. They seem too pathetic to do anything more than maybe get in a drunken bar fight anyway. The captain's singing by. Galactic will go. Fine. Move along.
Glory to our Stotska.
You'll pass away. You'll hear the next. You'll hear you'll hear this group, and you'll hear him stop. He goes, "Papers, please."
Damn it, Georgie.
I wish I could do the sound of the talking, because I wanted to do that next.
Yeah.
All right, so you all are now inside the city walls.
Woo. So we came in through A1. Cobra Stand. Came in through the A1 guard post, whatever gate, and we're making our way towards, it looks like a large square to head north from there.
Mm-hmm. You know that's kind of like the large kind of like outdoor market area where people have like little carts they set up and sell everything, and people from like the villages come out and do that, and it's.
We could go haggle at the flea market, guys.
Right, but do we really want to walk through the big group of people?
We could float up the river.
Well, I thought about taking the alleys up, through like F and then cut back over towards C. What is F?
Respects.
It is a what is F? What is F? What is F? It is kind of a. Oh shit!
It looks. Is that a halfling ward?
There is a small section of halflings. It's kind of like a refugee section for like halflings and displaced peoples and stuff like that. So there's like a halfling like whole like little village thingy, and then the outstairs section is kind of like displaced housing.
Gotcha. Well, that actually seems like a good area to go through because we won't get as many.
I will admit, I didn't realize the little holes there were halfling holes. So you said something. I couldn't figure it out on my map what those were because I had it zoomed out. I was like, what the hell are those?
Yeah, little holes in the side of hills.
Barton, where you come from?
Hey guys.
Hey.
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 All right, tell you what. Let's take a 5-minute break while Matern gets in here, and we'll come back.
Enough time for me to get in and set up.
Yeah, we'll come back because we're halfway through the session, so this sounds like a good spot to stop.
Okie dokie.